Windsor Taylor's in the house. Welcome back, everybody. Once again, you're listening to the Entrepreneurial Web. I'm your host, Jeremiah Fox, here with my guest, John Bussa from Space Station Prospect, the brand new business, piping hot, fresh out the oven. Tell us a little bit about your business.
Okay.
We talked a lot about you.
Right.
Enough about you now. Okay, I don't want to hear any more about you now.
What? Wow. Hurtful, dude.
Yeah, I know. I lied earlier.
Yeah, I know, man. Way to pull a 180 on me.
Go ahead.
All right, yeah, no, I should probably talk about the business, right?
What do you do there? What do you offer?
All right, so at Space Station Prospect, we offer everything you can think of. No, we are a game-based learning space, is what I like to say.
I usually don't keep it PG, so don't. You open the door, man.
I know, I did, didn't I? Well,
happy ending?
Yeah, whatever you want, man. You know, so, listen, as a business owner, I have to be flexible. Right. You know, I have to give the people what they want.
You can run a poker game out of the back room. I know you are.
I
saw how you sealed that back off. I was
no gambling can take place on the premises because I do not have the ability to do so. So we will not be doing that.
And that is my public statement.
This is live, right? Okay, good. We are a game-based learning space, man. I drew on my years of experience in the school system and the program that I had developed over the years, where as I said, I started off as an English teacher, but when I was teaching English, I always had this kind of love for gaming, and I connected with a lot of the kids from that level. And one day, I brought in my Xbox and I put on this game called Alan Wake, which is about like the main character is a writer and he's struggling with the things that he's like the physical projections of the things that he's
really getting close to home, huh?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it worked. And
was he drinking? And
right. His weapons were like throwing empty whiskey bottles and stuff like that. No, he like was dealing with like his own demons, but they were like projections on the screen that you had to shoot because it was a video game. And the kids like immediately, the points that I had been trying to make before that, that was like completely over their head. Like I think we were doing like Steinbeck, and we were looking at like why Steinbeck like wrote what he did and what he was doing, where they just could not connect to it and didn't want anything to do with it. I played this game for them for a little while, and all of a sudden it was like that was it. Like it was like doors opened, man. And like once that opened, I knew that I didn't want to close it up anymore. And slowly but surely, I made gaming like the central part of my class. Even when it was an English class, I still found ways to make it, whatever we were reading, we connected with this game, that game, and the other thing.
And how long after that did Bishop Ford close?
And then Bishop Ford closed like 6 months later. But that was completely unrelated to what I was doing. They really they connected with it in a way that I had never seen before, and I knew that there was something powerful here, that we could do something
absolutely
with this. So that's what I did. Bishop Ford closed a few years after I had really started to start doing that in the classroom. So I knew I wanted to move on into tech because I'd seen how tech was just kind of neglected in the schools, and I knew that I could bring some fresh ideas to how tech was used. So I went and got my tech degree and all that. And from there, the program really grew, and I started to create this room where I began to look at myself not as like a facilitator, but like as a curator of content. Here is all this stuff. Here is all of this stuff that I can show you that exists, that connects with all these other things that we've been doing or that you might know. Go and find it and see what you like about it. And then as they would, I could just kind of walk up and be like, hey, oh, you like this? Well, it connects to this and this and this. And then like, oh, why don't you check out this also? Like, well, just keep pushing them in this like more
connecting the dots, especially with like what you were trying educationally to get across.
Exactly. And kind of build up their play or their interactions in a more scholarly level. And that's what I was like all about doing.
Really awesome.
It was really and it seemed to be so cool for them, and it connected more with like the way that education was going. Like, you needed to have this kind of, everybody's talking about like unstructured play and unstructured activities, well, when you create a room like this where there's all these different things and you're not directing them to where to go, it becomes unstructured and they will interact. I would always have like full 100% engagement in everything that I was doing because there was just so much fun stuff for them to interact with.
Video games.
Yeah, well, but it wasn't just video games,
no, I understand.
All sorts of different things. I started with the video games, and that's like one of my passions. But like I love board games and all like other blended type of tech games,
Poker,
like
blackjack.
dude, I'll play you with spades right now.
I know.
Well, you know, you get 4 players, we'll play some spades.
My wife totally.
Yeah.
Me, I don't.
You know, Stratomatic baseball. Like I've played it all, man.
Jiu-jitsu, I'm down with. Human chess, I love it. The rest of it.
Yeah, no, yeah.
So it's great. So you kind of had like a little incubator to practice these.
I did.
Where you were making money, you were paying your bills, but you were like,
I was like private school salary, so making money as well too.
Okay, right. You were paying some bills. You're like, I can pay electric this month.
Right.
But you got a chance to kind of vet some of these ideas, and test them out, and you were doing it in a similar environment to what you imagined your space to look like.
Exactly. And you know, from building classrooms and stuff, I got a good idea of like how a space would look, you know, and I've always I can walk into a room and be like, okay, I would set it up this way, and this would achieve like all my goals of learning, you know. Now that's really cool too, to be able to do that. So to then go off in my own space and make it the way that I wanted was a really cool thing to be able to do. And to see it all come together the way that
but you had that vision first.
Well, the vision came over years and years of dealing with putting it together, you know. It wasn't one thing that just kind of you know, right there it just came to me. It was more like a development of time.
It always is. And then it'll morph more.
Oh, of course, I'm sure. And you know, the more, ideas beget ideas, right? So like you have some things and you see those things work, and then you're like, oh well, maybe I should try this and do this and then do that, and you gotta like almost slow yourself down.
Right. Well, you said some interesting things because you were talking about how you connected with the kids, and then all of a sudden it was like you were able to slip in, you know, like the real content you were supposed to, like the thing you were being paid to, like, that kind of knowledge you were trying to transfer, but you found a medium of communication. And even though they're kids, they're still like, that's your audience. That's your target, you know, customer, you know, whatever you want to call it. But that's like fundamental to successful business is like understanding the mode of communication and then figuring out what resonates with your crew, with your people, because it's not going to be everybody. That's ridiculous.
No, of course. I'm going
to market to everybody. You find your niche and then you like communicate on that level. So you tested the first round and got the doors open.
I did.
But now we're open.
I know.
What's next?
So, you know, I remember I heard you saying earlier about something about like growing organically. And I think that's such a good term because that's I think the way that good growth occurs. You know,
definitely,
because if you can have your structure and you can have your feelings of like, this is where I want to go. And I know every single point along the way, how I'm going to get there. But you can't predict all that stuff. You need to be able to watch stuff happen and react to it. And then move forward that way. And that's something that I've always thought that I've been good at doing is I like to see things. I like to see how things develop and then take that and use it to my advantage to give even more. And that's kind of one of the things that I've looked for here, you know, because I have my ideas of where I want it to go. And, you know, we started off small with just kind of an unstructured environment, like I said, where I'm kind of the curator of content and I can help push people up, push kids up into understanding more and more good things about design concepts and stuff like that. And then see what they're interested in by talking to them. And then offer that stuff up to them as well. You know,
you're going to have to be hands-on and involved for a while. And I do think organic growth yields the strongest relationships. I don't think it should be exclusive to organic growth. You have to, you know, you kind of have to feed the alligators somehow, you know, and if it's all organic, that gets the pool is pretty shallow.
Sure.
But I do think using that as like the core of building really strong, long-lasting relationships and being able to test, and that'll be the center, like the focal point of what you're talking about, like getting that feedback. Is really important, but and we could talk about it more in the last portion, more, you know, widespread reach and not being completely organic, because I started that way. And you know, it's interesting what I've noticed, because I've been running spots on Prospect Ave since 2007, and you know, especially before the social media explosion.
And what nice spots they are.
Oh, thank you. You're supposed to say, I love the duck wings 3 times. Remember? No, I'm kidding.
Oh, do I still get paid? Am I still getting paid?
No. If I don't get paid, you don't get paid. That's how
man.
I thought you were in the family.
Right.
You know, up till like 2015, you could pretty much operate on just exclusive organic growth and reach, because that's all there really was, and there weren't the distractions. But that was just the way that information got spread. Now, you know, the world is your competition.
Yeah.
It's like
Right.
you can't again, I think the most valuable relationships and feedback come from that organic pocket, but you have to have like the cargo pants,
Of course,
and
of
like
course,
pull
right.
from like some other
Yeah.
places. Just, you know, you gotta poke and prod and see, like, is this gonna bite back?
Right.
You know, is it gonna hurt when it bites
Right,
back?
right,
Is
right.
it gonna be friendly? You
Do
know?
I feed the bear?
Yeah, is it dead or is it alive? So what are some of the other things that you've discovered just being, you know, a month old,
Yeah.
that you were like, oh, I didn't see that coming. Wasn't expecting that.
I mean, I didn't even know what to expect, so I don't know if there are some things that have come that have been unexpected, because
Okay,
I've kept
good.
a complete open mind to, hey, what's going to happen?
That's a pretty good approach.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you know, you got to live your life like that.
Well,
in a lot of ways.
I start every day expecting the worst.
Yeah,
and,
oh,
like,
yeah, oh, yeah,
The
I'm-
absolute worst
right,
is going
right.
to happen today,
Yeah.
and if it doesn't,
Are you,
it's
you're
all
not
good.
Italian? Because that's definitely an
Right.
Italian thing. You
I
expect the worst.
I'm adopted Italian.
Right,
I-
okay, okay.
I got my start in Italian restaurants when
Mhm.
I was like 17 years old.
Okay.
All like, you know, Jersey and New York, and some native Italians, and just along the way, everywhere. Like when I was in Buffalo, it was the same thing. And, that's why we're making the fresh pasta.
I see.
You know,
Mhm.
someone asked me the other day what was my favorite movie quote, and I said, "They keep pulling me back in." Like that's how it is. I tried to get away from restaurants for so long, and it's just so ironic that
Yeah,
I
here
ended
you
up
are.
opening an Italian restaurant as an Irish mutt. Anyways, that pasta's good though.
Yeah.
I make a good sauce.
It's a spicy
Yeah,
meatball.
it is.
No, now you got me doing. Honestly, I'm gonna be in trouble now.
Yeah,
I
good.
can't.
We'll
I
take
can't be
'em.
doing that.
We'll take
man.
them.
I can't be doing
We'll
that.
draw the line in
No,
the sand.
I'm told. You know.
He said, no. This is broadcast, man.
I know.
The cat's out of the bag.
Eh.
You're done, man. You're done.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
All right.
no, we'll take
well, it was
care of it.
nice. Well,
it was nice knowing you, everybody. Maybe I'll get that tattoo parlor after. And I know where to get some flowers.
Hey.
All right, we're gonna take another short break. We're gonna get serious. We'll be back in a few.
I don't know
This is the
how.
Entrepreneurial Web.